Good morning, everybody. I hope you all can
Good
hear me.
morning.
We'll begin with the lecture. Let me just try to magnify this slide. Okay. In yesterday's lecture, we have already seen about the electron transport chain for photosynthesis in purple bacteria. Okay. And I hope you have all understood it. Okay. We have seen that in this particular photosystem, the electron which comes out from the reaction center, that is P870, okay, that is a chlorophyll molecule, bacteriochlorophyll molecule. Okay, so this electron comes back to the photosystem, rather the reaction center, and therefore we have called it as the cyclic electron flow. I hope you remember this. Okay, now in this cyclic electron flow, what happens is the protons are also pumped outside the membrane by this particular complex, cytochrome B61 complex. Okay, and because of that, a proton gradient is made, and that proton gradient is responsible for synthesizing ATP. Is it right? And then there was a question which I asked you. The question was that if all the electrons are coming back to the reaction center and there are no electrons available to carry out the reduction of NAD, then how is the reducing power generated in the purple bacteria? Okay. So that question, I hope you will be able to read it from the books or from the internet, and then you will come up with the answer by the time we finish with this unit. Okay, and then you are going to submit it. And of course, I told you that if there is any problem, you are unable to understand it, then I am always ready to help you. Okay. So in today's lecture, we are going to see about the photosystem of another bacterium, that is the green bacteria. Okay. Just a minute. There are a lot of advertisements popping up on my screen, and that is somehow disturbing me. Anyway, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, but it is stuck on your computer. I mean,
Okay.
my computer.
Okay. Let us wait for a minute. I think that is because of some internet problem. Are you also able to see the advertisements which are popping up on my screen?
No, sir.
No. Okay, that's good then. Okay, so at least it should not disturb you. Okay, can you see the screen now? Green bacteria. Okay, the slide is titled as green bacteria, and this is like it is like the type 1 reaction center which is present in the plants. Okay. Again, there is some issue here. Inamul, can you see now?
No, sir. It is still stuck on your computer.
No, on my computer, I can see the next slide. Okay, that is green bacteria.
But sir, we are not able to see.
Okay, you are not able to see. Okay, the moment it appears on your screen, then you can tell me. Because the institute internet system is still down, and I'm using my laptop again with my mobile hotspot. So maybe that is creating some problem. When it becomes visible, please tell me. Is it okay?
No, sir, not yet.
Without the screen also, I think I can proceed. Okay. Have you taken down yesterday's photo system for a purple bacteria? Have you drawn the diagram? Or what is it that you can see on your screen? Can you see any slide?
No, sir.
You aren't able to see anything. What do you see on your screen? Just a minute. I'll try to reshare the screen. Okay. That will be better, I think. Can you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good, good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So today we shall see about green bacteria. Okay. Like we have seen in the purple bacteria, there are similar kinds of modules present or similar types of components are there in the green bacteria, but it has some differences. Some additional enzymatic steps are involved. Okay. And we are going to see what are those differences actually. Okay. So here what happens is when there is light excitation, okay, there is a reaction center here which is called as P840. Okay, so this molecule is different than the purple bacteria. The electron moves from the reaction center because the reaction center gets excited. Okay, like we have already seen that particular process of exciton transfer. Okay, and this electron then moves to quinone, and then from quinone it moves to cytochrome BC1 complex. Okay, earlier we have seen that there was a pheophytin involved. So here there is no pheophytin involved. Some electrons will flow from the reaction center to another molecule which is called as ferridoxine. Okay, so this is a little bifurcation from the earlier type of system. Okay, where the electron in the earlier case was coming back to the reaction center, but here some of the electrons, mind you, not all the electrons and not every time, but sometimes some electrons, instead of going back to the reaction center, they go to another molecule by a bifurcated pathway, and they go to a molecule which is called ferrodoxine. Okay. Now this protein ferridoxine is called so because it contains iron. Okay. So it is an iron sulfur protein. I have written here in the bracket FES protein. Okay. And from this ferredoxin, can you see it here on in the diagram? This line. If you want the image to be magnified, I'll go to the next slide. Just a minute. Somebody wants to be admitted. I'll admit them. Okay, can you see this? Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So just look at this reaction center P840. When light falls on this, when light falls here on this reaction center, then the electron will get excited. It goes to the higher energy level. We have already seen graphically how there is a change in the standard reduction potential. Okay, so when it goes to the higher energy level, actually it goes to the negative side. Okay, so the standard reduction potential becomes more negative, and when it is more negative, the electron can be released from that reaction center. Okay, so the electron actually goes away from the reaction center, and then it goes to a molecule called quinone. From quinone, it goes to cytochrome BC1 complex. Cytochrome BC1 complex is actually a proton pump. So it will cause the pumping of protons to the other side of the membrane, okay, which will generate eventually the ATP. Okay, now this electron from cytochrome BC1 can come back through cytochrome C, okay, which is a soluble carrier which is present in the membrane. So it will carry the electron back, okay, to the reaction center molecule. Is it clear to you? Okay, now sometimes what happens is the electron instead of going to quinone, it goes to a protein which is called ferredoxin. Okay, so ferredoxin is an iron sulfur protein. We are going to see some details about such iron sulfur proteins later, okay, maybe in the next unit or so. Okay, so this electron from ferredoxin through an enzyme which is called ferredoxin NAD reductase. So this enzyme is capable of taking the electron from ferredoxin and gives it to NAD. Okay, so it is called ferredoxin NAD reductase. That is to say, it causes reduction of NAD, and NAD is then converted to NADH. So this NADH is now the reducing power which is already generated, and this reducing power will be subsequently utilized in the dark reaction for the synthesis of carbohydrates. Is it okay? So in this particular system, we have only one reaction system, one photosystem, but this one photosystem is capable of doing two jobs. One is to synthesize ATP by the cyclic transfer of electrons, and the other job is that it can produce the reducing power, that is NAD, which is subsequently used in the dark reactions for the synthesis of carbohydrates, right? So I've written here in red color, attention here, both ATP and reducing power are generated in one photosystem, one single photosystem, and therefore, like the plants, the bacteria do not require two types of photosystems, two different photosystems. Okay, in the plants, we have seen that one photosystem is there for ATP generation, and one photosystem is there for the generation of reducing power, right? Both the jobs are done together by the same photosystem in the green bacteria. Okay, again, that would probably make you little think a bit. In the purple bacteria which I have described yesterday, I have asked you the question, what about the reducing power generation? How is reducing power generated if the electrons are all going to go back to the reaction center? So some modification is required sometimes. Whenever, of course, you might even ask me a question that when I said that sometimes the electron goes to ferredoxin, and you may ask me the question, where, at what times it goes to ferredoxin? Who decides whether the electron should go to quinone or whether the electron should go to ferredoxin? Any answer for that? Who will decide, and when it will be decided whether the electron should go to quinone or whether it should go to ferredoxin? Or in other words, whether ATP should be generated or whether reducing power should be generated? Who decides that, and when?
Sir, availability of the end product.
Action decided.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, so there is a tight regulation, very strict regulatory controls are there. Okay, and whenever ATP is available in excess, the system will not require more ATP, and therefore automatically the electrons will go to ferredoxin. Or in other words, when NAD is limiting, okay, if there is a very short supply of NADH rather, then the system will decide to go to produce the reducing power. Okay, so it all depends upon the cell's metabolic requirements. Depending upon what the cell requires or what the organism as such requires, that decision will be taken. Okay, so there are genetic controls as well as there are biochemical controls. I think you might have already been studying this. So maybe in your biochemistry, you might have studied it in the first semester. Have you studied regulatory of controls, regulation
Yes.
in the metabolic
Yes, sir.
pathways?
Yes, sir.
In the metabolic
sir.
pathways, you have already
Also,
studied it. Okay, so the similar kinds of controls are here. There are two levels of control. One is the genetic level and one is the biochemical level. Right? We are not going into that detail right now. Okay, of course, there will be some small topics there. I think in the next unit also we are going to see that. And then in the nitrogen metabolism, probably we are going to see some regulatory aspects also, genetic control as well as biochemical control. But for this unit, we are only limiting ourselves to this scheme of photosynthesis in the bacteria and in the plants. Of course, in the algae also. I have lot of advertisements popping here, which is making the things difficult for me actually. Okay. So these reaction center molecules and the reaction centers as such are evolutionarily very complex. Okay, that is to say that they have evolved over many years. Okay, and why it is there is because the photosynthesis is a very important part of metabolism. Because if photosynthesis is not proper, or if it is not efficient, or if there is any defect in the photosynthesis, then of course that will be very dangerous for the survival of the organism. Okay, and therefore strict regulation is there. And not only that, but the arrangement of these systems, the photosystem is such that the photosynthesis will happen very efficiently. Okay, there is no internal conversion in the excited chlorophyll molecules. That is to say that energy cannot be wasted. Energy is not lost. The electrons are not going to be go anywhere randomly. Okay, they are supposed to go to the desired place only, to the electron acceptor, which is subsequently placed in the chain. Okay, so the electron is not going to go anywhere else. So that kind of the thing is ensured in the photosynthesis, in the photosystems. Then there are proteins which are also involved, and these proteins hold the reaction center bacteriochlorophyll molecules properly. Then they also hold the bacteriophytins and quinones. So all these molecules are not just lying there as it is in the membrane, but they are actually complex to proteins. And these proteins are something that will hold the molecules in the proper at the proper location and in the proper orientation. So these two terms are very important: at the particular site, that is location, and in the proper orientation. Okay, so that is very important. If the molecules are not located in the proper location, then photosynthesis will not happen efficiently. And even if the molecules are there in the proper place, but if they are not oriented properly, even then the photosynthesis will not happen efficiently. Okay, and therefore yesterday I have used this term solid state. The reactions occur as if these all complexes are present in a solid material, perfectly aligned. That is to say, they are perfectly aligned in the particular location and in a proper orientation. Okay, and therefore there is no chance of a random diffusion or collision with any other molecule, random collisions, and therefore there is no wastage of energy at all. Okay, just a minute. Okay, the exciton transfer, we have already seen that this happens very efficiently. In less than 100 picoseconds, the electrons are transferred. and the efficiency of transfer is more than 90%. Okay, of course, 10% is there. Some random event may take place. We are just accounting for that because we cannot imagine anything which will take place at 100% efficiency, isn't it? But still, this efficiency of 90% is far too much better as compared to any man-made machine, isn't it? Okay. Then we have also seen in the case of plant photosynthesis, and here also it is true that the standard free energy change for this electron transfer is very large and negative, and 180 kilojoules of energy can be produced per mole of the photons which are transferred. Okay, and we have seen that 1 mole of ATP requires 30 to 50 kilojoules. So compared to what is required for 1 ATP molecule or 1 mole of ATP, what we get is 180 kilojoules. So at least it is about, say, 3 to 5 times better, you can say, or 3 to 5 times more of the ATP can be generated with this photosynthesis, and therefore on the whole you can say that at least 1 mole of ATP can be produced, okay, for 1 mole of photons which are transferred, or 1 mole of photons which are taken up by the which are received by the cells. Okay, and therefore we can say that the process is irreversible and it is efficient. Okay, irreversible because the electrons are being transferred from a particular molecule which has a lower electrode potential to the molecule which has a higher electrode potential. Okay, so reverse thing cannot take place, and therefore we say that this process is irreversible. Of course, there is an exception to this rule, and that exception you will find when you will try to attempt that assignment which I had given you, that was about how is reducing power generated in the purple bacteria. There, in that particular case, you will find that there is something irreversible which is taking place. Okay, so I'm just giving you a hint, I'm giving you a clue for that assignment, and I hope that you will be able to finish off that assignment very soon. Okay, then we come again to plant photosynthesis. Okay, we have already seen the bacterial photosystems, okay, type 1 and type 2, and this the term type 1 and type 2 actually comes from the plant photosystems. Okay, so something which is similar to plant photosystem number 1, that is called as type 1 in bacteria, and what is similar to plant photosystem number 2, okay, is called as type 2 in the bacteria, right? So purple bacteria have what type? Do you remember? Purple bacteria? Type?
Type 2.
Okay,
Second.
yes. And green bacteria is type 1. Yes, type 1. Okay, so just remember that. That is important for your examination. And coming to plant photosynthesis again, or cyanobacteria, algae, and plants, they actually belong to the same category because the photosystems present in all the 3 groups of organisms are similar. Okay, so just remember plants, algae, and cyanobacteria. What are cyanobacteria? They are the blue-green
Photosynthetic algae.
Yes. They are unicellular, okay, and they are called as blue-green algae. So in these organisms, all these organisms, we have 2 photosystems, and each photosystem has its own reaction center. So every photosystem will have a different reaction center. Okay, so photosystem 1 will have a different reaction center, and photosystem 2 also will have a different reaction center. Okay, the photosystem 2 is like the purple bacteria. We have already seen that. Okay, so it is essentially a pheophytene quinone type of reaction system, and it has equal amounts of chlorophyll A molecules and chlorophyll B molecules, right? So what happens is when the light falls on the reaction system, then there is this pigment which is called P. I have 10 minutes left, okay? And after 10 minutes, I am going to join the meeting again, okay? So please don't go anywhere. You are required to join again. P680 is the reaction center molecule for photosystem 2. And this one will drive the electrons when it gets excited because of the sunlight. The electron will be transferred to cytochrome B6F. Okay, remember this complex B6F. In the case of bacteria, it was BCF. Okay, so that is a difference. Although the function is the same, but there are some structural differences. Okay, so the electrons go to cytochrome B6F complex, and this one is actually a proton pump. Okay, we are going to see this particular term proton pump next time when we study the other unit, that is respiration. Okay, right now you can just remember that it is a proton pump, and therefore it is able to drive the protons across the membrane, thylakoid membrane, and when protons go to the other side, they are going to build up in the concentration. A large concentration of protons will be made on the other side of the membrane, and then one by one these protons can come back inside the membrane, but they will come not from any other place, but they will come only through the ATP synthase complex. So when they come through the ATP synthase complex inside the membrane again, that will drive that particular molecule, or it will change the conformation of that ATP synthase complex in such a manner that it will take up that energy from that a high concentration of protons. Okay, so high concentration itself means a lot of energy. So that energy is utilized to make ATP molecule from ADP. Is it okay? So let me see if I have an enlarged version of this. I don't think I have. So I'll try to magnify this slide. Okay. And then maybe you can see that diagram again. Just a minute. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, of course, this scale is also given here just for your understanding that this particular photosystem, when it acquires the photons, okay, that is sunlight, the electron will get excited to the higher energy state. And when I say higher energy state, it means that the redox potential has changed from a positive something, it has become -1 or close to -1. Okay, that is to say this particular reaction center is now capable of giving the electron. Okay, it becomes an electron donor now. Okay, so this electron will go obviously to the component which is sitting very close by, that is pheophytin. Okay, and the component, this particular component has its own standard redox potential in such a way that it can accept the electrons only from this reaction center. It will not take electrons from anything else because of its orientation, because of its location in the membrane, as well as because of its own standard reduction potential. Okay, so remember that, and therefore there is no reversible flow of electron possible. Electrons will go only in one direction. Okay, so from pheophytin it goes to plastoquinone. Okay, we call it plasto because this refers to plant photosystem. Okay, that is in the chloroplast. It is present in the chloroplast, and therefore we call it as plastoquinone, and PQA molecule, and then to PQB molecule, and then it goes to cytochrome B6F. Cytochrome B6F itself is a proton, you can say proton pump, and therefore the proton gradient will be made, which will ultimately lead to the synthesis of ATP. So that was about the photosystem 2 we have seen, and then we would go to the next point. Okay, there are some details available here. I'll try to minimize, make this slide a little smaller so that you can read everything. Okay, now the same diagram I have modified slightly. Okay, just to show you some details here, there are two proteins which are called as D1 and D2 proteins. Okay, these proteins are similar to each other. Okay, they form a dimer. Okay, and this dimer is placed such in the membrane in such a way that to this dimer all the electron carrying cofactors are actually physically bound. Okay, so now this actually becomes a bigger complex. Okay, this itself is a bigger complex where we have the electron transport components bound to the dimer D1 plus D2 together, okay, and a bigger complex is formed. Okay, so now what happens is when there is excitation of light of the reaction system, and the electron is transferred to the pheophytene here, okay, and the pheophytene now becomes pheophytene minus, okay, we put the minus sign because it has already taken up the electron. The reaction center molecule becomes P680 plus now because it has lost the electron, okay, and then the electron goes to plastoquinone molecule, which is called PQA here, okay, I've already shown it. It is attached to the D1, D2, and then it is passed on to the other molecule that is called PQB. Now this PQB is not very tightly linked to the dimer, okay, it is rather loosely bound, okay. Now only when the PQB molecule acquires both the electrons, okay, just remember that only when it acquires the 2 electrons as well as 2 protons, because sometimes the electrons are associated with the proton also. That is to say, it is a hydrogen, isn't it? Two electrons and 2 protons means 2 hydrogen molecules. So when these 2 electrons are acquired from water, okay, then this quinol, okay, PQA plus PQB together is called a quinol. That quinol will be completely reduced, okay, only when both the electrons are acquired. Remember this. Now, only when both the electrons are acquired and the quinone molecule becomes completely reduced, okay, then the electrons will be passed on to the next component that is called cytochrome B6F, right? And then you would probably ask me a question that the electrons have already been lost from the reaction center. So how is that reaction center going to get the electron again? And for this, the answer is that the electrons come from water molecule. Okay, so when the electron hole is created in the reaction center, that electron will be replaced, or the electron will be acquired again by the reaction center through the splitting of water molecule, okay, which is shown in this diagram. Can you see here? H2O molecule is split to yield the electrons, and oxygen is released.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then let us go to the next slide. Yeah, then we go to the next photosystem, which is present in the plant, and that is photosystem 1. So we have already seen photosystem 2 of the plants, okay, and then now we are going to see the photosystem 1, which is present in the plants. And this is again, as I told you earlier, that it is related to the type 1 reaction center of the green sulfur bacteria, and there is a high ratio of chlorophyll A, okay, high proportion of chlorophyll A as compared to chlorophyll B. And here we have the reaction center, which is called as P700. Okay, so the molecule which is sitting in the reaction center is called as P700. Okay, and this molecule will pass the electron after getting excited to the iron sulfur protein, which is called ferredoxine. So can you see it here? FES is shown here in the diagram. And from the ferredoxine, the electron will go to through the enzyme FES NADP NADH, what is written there? NADP, sorry, NADP oxidoreductase. The enzyme will go to NADP, and therefore NADP will be converted to NADPH, right? And that is how we get the reducing power from the photosystem number 1, which is present in plants. Okay, then we shall try to find a little more details. Let me make this slide a slightly smaller.